Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we're taking a look at the Dashkoff Knives Stinger. And that's with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. Now, this did come in from the Lefty Pass Around group, so big thanks to those guys. It was designed by Eugene Dashkoff, and the OEM is still unknown. Now, did I recently review a Dashkoff Stinger in all titanium? Yes. This is the same brand and same name, but it's a more tactical, more budget-oriented version of the knife. So, instead of like titanium scales, what we have is we have titanium liners with aluminum scales. They still give us that nice milling. We do have tooling hardware on the show side, whereas before we didn't. We no longer have a backspacer. We just have standoffs. We do maintain a titanium milled pocket clip, but it looks like this is a mouth. Those are two eyes, and this is just like a big nose looking up. And like I can't unsee it. So now you're stuck with it too. You're welcome. I feel like we could have hidden this hardware a little bit better though. Because in the last one, I think we just had the body screws and it was an internally mounted pocket clip. Whereas now it's like, now we've got these two kind of bulbous body screws and it's not recessed into the handle. It's just like laid on top of it. So, I mean, I guess I could understand the concession to an extent, and they gave the clip some character, which I'm happy for, but the hardware is a little, it's a lot. Then we've got up here, we've got this Knife Boutique. The website was a little confusing. It talked about this brand, that like a sub brand of this knife being called Virtus Coulter. But then like this says Knife Boutique. So like I don't know if this is a collab with Knife Boutique or if it's a collab with Virtus Coulter, or if it's a collab at all. I have no idea. I know that I don't like Knife Boutique being there though. We did lose the DK down here on the bottom, and we gained a Virtus Coulter with a bat, a pretty cool looking bat at that. But we could have done without this, I think. So that's a walk around the outside. Let's take a look at the ergonomics. So it's essentially going to be pretty much the same. One change they did make, though, was they took the jimping out of here. So now it's just a chamfer, like a scallop, which alleviates that hot spot. So like there's no hot spot there now. Even if you're squeezing relatively hard, you're really not getting a hot spot, which is very nice. So it's all the comfort of the titanium version minus the hot spot. Now, don't get me wrong, you can still kind of, pinch your finger up in here a little bit, and if you do that, it'll be a hot spot. But as long as you aren't trying to cram your finger into that groove, you'll be fine. As far as the blade goes, similar blade shape. We have swapped from the hole to the studs. We have a nice stone wash with a hand satin flats. Still a dagger style blade. And we're rocking M390. So we went from M398 down to M390. So, you can kind of see where they're pulling some quality out, to hit a certain price point. Is this? No, it's still not. I haven't carried this one as long as the other one because they're essentially the same knife that is not functional jimping up there, which is kind of a bummer. And somebody can maybe tell me, oh no, I'm sorry, this version is MagnaCut. So they have different blade steels for different runs. So some of their runs for this knife have been M390, some of them have been 20 CV, and some of them have been MagnaCut. So this one's the MagnaCut variant. I actually don't know why we've got a little hole there. It doesn't appear to be on the other one. So if somebody knows any better, tell me, why do we have a little hole there? Is that for like a tritium slot or something? But as far as MagnaCut goes, MagnaCut is a very balanced high-end steel. That's why we see it so often. Companies that can use MagnaCut do use MagnaCut, and it doesn't have any real weaknesses in it. So that's why it's used so often. Now, I will say one thing that this knife does so well at is the action. This thing rockets out. I'm talking barely any effort. I'm sure I could fail if I cheated it a little bit. Let me try again. Okay, yeah. If I try very hard not to deploy it, then I can fail it. But otherwise, any effort, and this thing's going to come just flying out. One thing I've noticed about the Dashkoff knives is the action feels incredibly premium. The action feels, a step above most companies. Like I would say the action on this feels better than a similarly priced Riot, right? I don't know exactly how they're achieving it. I know these are not riding on skiffs. But I mean, overall, it just feels really, really good. Solid acoustics. It is a liner lock. Yeah, the action just feels incredible. So that's one place they didn't sacrifice. They wanted the feel and function of this knife to be the same, right? So they downgraded the blade steel. And MagnaCut isn't really a downgrade, but MagnaCut is less expensive than M398. They took out the backspacer and replaced it with standoffs. They changed the clip up, have it externally mounted instead of internally mounted. Like, I think they did a good job of cutting areas that might help if I'm centered. Of cutting areas that the end user isn't going to mind as much. Like, you really only notice the difference when you go from one directly to the other. But if you just bought this knife, like, you wouldn't have a problem with the standoffs. You probably wouldn't have a problem with the pocket clip, right? So let's. Oh, and one thing I'll say is, so sharpening life, the stop pin comes in right here, right? Which means, and the sharpening choil is all the way down here, right? So you can cut in your own sharpening choil. You're at no risk of screwing anything up. And they did give us a better sharpening choil on this one. So I don't think they intended to give this one a better sharpening choil than the other just because. I think whenever they made the titanium Dashkoff, the titanium Stinger rather, that was probably their first production, and they were probably a younger company. And while they're downgrading certain aspects of this knife to hit a price point, they're also generally improving other aspects that maybe they felt short on. So this isn't a tremendous amount of sharpening life, but if you look at my other review, this is miles ahead of where the other Stinger was, right? So big improvements there. And to be honest, this is probably feedback they got from the community or from other YouTubers that they're taking to heart and making improvements. And, anytime companies are in tune with the knife community, and they take that feedback seriously, those are the companies that tend to improve the quickest. So I do like that I'm seeing some changes like this, because that means they are taking the feedback seriously. All right, let's talk about some specs. So overall, we're coming in at 7.95 inches overall, blade length of 3.54 inches, and then an overall weight of 5.29 ounces. It's almost the exact same specs of the big guy. I say big guy. It's the exact. They're about the same size. They're both hefty. They're both weighty. And that's because they have thick titanium liners, and then they have thick scales on top of that. All right, some size comparisons, just in case you didn't see the first set. Up against the milled aluminum Civivi Brazen, one of the best Civivi knives ever made. You know, in my other video, I thought it had the Brazen beat by a fair amount, but it looks like they're. Oh no, yeah, it does have it beat. It's just angled weird, so you can't see it. The Stinger's coming in slightly bigger than the Brazen. Up against the Real Steel Sylph, made shorter because I rolled the damn tip. And then one of my favorite budget knives of the year so far. Review on the actual favorite budget knife is coming soon. The Migaron Gotov. And we are substantially larger than the Gotov. So, what's the price on this? On the last one, the price was a bit of a sticker shock at $550. They've clearly cut some, I don't want to say cut corners because it's not like the quality went down, but they made some meaningful trade-offs to get the price lower. The price on this guy is $350. So changing to aluminum scales, standoffs, externally mounted pocket clip, and going from M398 to Magna Cut, all that shaved about $200 off the price. But $350 ideally is about where the full titanium one should have been sitting, $350 to $400, depending on if it was made in Russia or if it was made in China. This one feels kind of the same. Now, I don't want to understate this. These are incredibly premium feeling. Like, they feel fantastic. The action, usability. I mean, you know, you got thick handles for grip. I mean, like, they feel great. They're just not in that price conversation. Like, I don't want to spend $350 and get aluminum, right? I don't want to spend $350 and just be getting like Magna Cut. It's like at $350, I would expect a backspacer. I would expect internally mounted pocket clip. I would expect not to have this billboarding, right? And at $350, Magna Cut's fine. Like, okay, cool. But I feel like the first Stinger, the titanium one that I reviewed, should have been about $350 or $400. I feel like this one is probably right at home at about $250. And I know it's aluminum, but there's still a level of quality that's built into this knife that it's hard to capture, or it's hard to relay. So, yeah, I mean, it just feels incredibly premium. Like, it just feels like a great knife to operate. But it's still, you know, I'm not looking through rose-colored goggles. You know, you still have aluminum scales, no backspacer, and an externally mounted clip. Like, that just isn't screaming $350 to me. Because I know Riot, you know, for $50 more, you know, for $400, will pump out, you know, integrals. And Riot delivers insane value at $350, sometimes even giving you like Zircotai, you know. So yeah, this one is like, if you love the way this knife looks and you just want to know it's a good knife, this is a fantastic knife. But just realize if you're buying it at $350, you're probably paying about $100 over. Don't get me wrong, this did sell out on their website. Like, if you go to their website to buy one of these, they sold out, right? So clearly there's a market for this. And clearly a lot of people voted with their wallets and said, yes, I'll spend $350 on that. I'm just having a hard time seeing it. So maybe it's me, right? Maybe I'm the one who's disillusioned. You know, but I mean, don't get me wrong. There's knives that I've overpaid for, and I did so happily because I really wanted the freaking knife. You know, so we all hit those points, and maybe this is one for you. But I think $250 would have been a much more appropriate price for this knife. So, for me, um, excuse me, for me, this would be a daily carry knife. I would beat the tar out of this, and I would love every second of it. Such good action. But this would not be a collection piece. You know, but what about for you? Is this a daily carry? Would this be a collection piece, or did this knife just miss the mark entirely for you? I'm really interested to read your thoughts down below. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and until the next time, guys, peace.